Welcome everyone. Welcome to the launch of TRE Centre Community membership. I'm Cheda, and I look forward to kind of sharing this hour with you. And also I'm excited about this venture that's starting, and hoping, many people will join, and we're going to be exploring life and health, beauty, and all of that. So let me just see, speaker view is here. Okay. It's a recording because some people can't, be different time zones and different obligations. So this will be uploaded on the community portal, and I think we're going to have it on YouTube as well. So let's just take a moment to arrive here. Just feel as you are. Notice the room. Let your breath be exactly as it is. Try not to change anything. Just be. Observe the sensations. Yes, this space is not about about performance. It's about being. It's about listening with your whole body. It's not a meditation. It's not kind of trying to contain something. Let's take it to another level, all of this stuff. Let's just be in this dynamic space inside of us and around us. Extraordinary space we have. And see what changes. And so as we do this for a minute, I will really invite you to do this more often in your own space. I'm sure some of you are doing this already, and more elaborate and in a different way or form, but giving yourself time to connect with the deeper consciousness, with the deeper presence and awareness. It's an extraordinary thing. We don't do it enough. And the whole point of this community, it's going to be inviting to do this more often and doing it to get together and opening different spaces within us and around us as well. And I would say this space, it's not really asking of you much in a way of doing, being in whichever way, or you need to be calm, you need to be very present, very aware, very whatever, none of that. Just turn up, show up. I think really life is so rich for all of us. And the greatest thing, I think, is to show up, to be as you are, as much as possible. And it sounds easy, but it's not. And also, I want you to have choices. We need more choices in life, and somehow life often feels we don't have enough choice. And I want us to practice this, to give ourselves more choices, to make mistakes, to not to know things, and to be uncertain, to be certain. I think that's really what's lacking in many aspects of people's life, in different forms of therapy techniques and so on. Even with this theory world that most of us are part of, like us to be freer. in reality, this whole movement is about expressing as you are. So it's we enter more openly, and that's my invitation. Obviously, you do whatever you feel like. I like also to say I came close to this idea a while ago, and I really wanted to do this community, but I'm never really quite ready. I don't quite know enough. How do I hold this whole space? I don't have time. And I'm like, there was a moment in December when I really decided, no, let's do it. Let's try. And the reason why I want to do this, because I'm lacking sense of community. I live in a beautiful place in south of Italy. I travel extensively. I go back to London. I travel, in many countries in Europe. I teach. I connect with most amazing and beautiful people and clients. But I'm lacking kind of a continuous connection with like-minded people. And I think key is the like-minded people is a great resource to all of us, because in the trauma world, one of the main elements is to have a resource. Adequate resources are the key, because you can have the best techniques, you can have best teachers, but if you don't have resources, then the work is going to be different. So resourcing ourselves with the like-minded people, where you don't need to explain anything, you don't need to defend anything, you don't need to really do anything. Just do whatever the fuck you want to do, really. I mean, try to be respectful towards others as much as possible. But if you feel not respectful, that's okay too. And a lot of people are asking for techniques. They want to do this better. They want to do that better. And I think techniques are great. And I teach a lot of techniques. But what I've realized in the last couple of years is that a lot of us are not fully understanding what life is, obviously, but also the healing process, the living process, the TRE process, because we are aiming to get somewhere that we don't know enough, we are not quite whole enough, we are broken at some level, and I think that might be true, but that's part of the truth as well. We are also this immortal ever-present consciousness and awareness that is right now residing in these bodies, and I think aspect of theory and context is really important to bring this into a practical, embodied experience. Because studying some of the biophysics in the last couple of years and brain science, what I'm realizing that every experience that you have, your consciousness and your system understood that immediately, because the experience manifests within you at the speed of light immediately. But what actually is taking weeks, months, years, probably entire lifetime, it's how we understand that. How from that quantum field, from that potential and that deep unconscious experience, how do we actually bring into the consciousness? And I think that huge passage, it's incredibly relevant, and I do believe that certainly for me, theory was fundamental piece of that, and any other involuntary movement and therapeutic practice that I engaged with brought that deep unconscious quantum field more into my awareness. And once you understand really cognitively what is going on, life becomes quite different. Your awareness is different, your emotional state is different. And I'm not sure how well I'm explaining this, but I think that theoretical, cognitive part, it is really important. And we need to walk that path and experience it through the body and through the emotional states, sensations, but also the cognitive elements, to me, speaks volume. And it is, we can't divorce that, especially in a society that we live in, hypercognitive, hyper-informational, and all of that. And I think our role as practitioners, as people who have interest in this work, it's a noble work, it's a beautiful work. And after 30 years now, I'm even more excited about doing this work. And this shift from these unconscious quantum states into the conscious states, and from theory into practice, from practice to transformation, and from transformation to deeper connection with oneself, with others, and with life. That's how I see this process. And this, I want to explore this in TRE Centre Community membership. So how do we perceive that? What do we do through this process? Okay, yeah, there is a message I can't see. Oh, okay, sorry about that. For some reason, it wasn't emerging on my screen. So a couple of people were waiting, and I didn't realize. So please let me know if something you can't hear me well, or connections are not 100%. We did have some extraordinary storms in here, and we had connections failing, and then so in case there is a problem, please let me know. So yeah, that's the big idea that I want to kind of, I mean, it's not that big. It is big for me, but and it's not the new necessarily idea, but I can actually verbalize it, and I understand better, and I feel ready to actually guide that in a particular way, with some difference, with some clarity, and curiosity as well, and also openness not to know. And as some of you know me already, I don't pretend to know things. I know what I do know, and I'm fairly happy with that. But also, thanks to David Berceli, one of the greatest teachings from him came that being okay with not knowing as well. And we can talk about this in a greater detail, but I like to bring slightly different concepts here as well, which might help us, might open our awareness and knowledge. And I believe some of you are aware of the term entropy. Do we know what entropy is? Have we heard of that? Feel free to say yes or no. It's okay now. Because to me, entropy is a kind of term that comes from physics and relates to matter disintegrating, aging, and and I connect that deeply with our work and our assumptions about life. We assume, and we are told as well, the life kind of, your cells, they become disorganized, they become ill, they age, they die, and that's kind of entropy, nothing that you can do about. And so, to me, entropy also reflects trauma as excessive stress and excessive tension, different patterns in the body that are created, adaptation to this stress, to traumatic experiences, dysregulation, asymmetry that takes place, adaptation or maladaptation is, some of these terms that we use. But it's closely related to trauma, the entropy. And but the word syntropy, have you heard of syntropy? Not many people heard of that, and I just wonder why. And I've heard of that, but never really kind of got it understood. So one of my teachers a while ago mentioned syntropy again, and I was like, this sounds familiar. And syntropy is totally the opposite of entropy. And syntropy is the principle of rejuvenation, growth, emergence. Actually, I have a slide here. Why don't I use slides? The slide might actually be even more. Can you see the slide? So let me just change this. Someone else came into the. Okay, so this. Okay, this should work better. So entropy would kind of look like this. So the fragmentation, the aging, the disintegration, asymmetry, noise, loss of coherence. Coherence is the word that I'm exploring for a while now, and so being stuck as well, and then eventually your entropy. And and I And I like to also invite us to be a little bit more courageous and brave, because studying some of the brain science and talking about the neuroscience and some of the physics, you have these amazing minds, cognitive minds, guys. These people are really, really smart in grasping the particular concepts. But these concepts are mainly abstract concepts. And I like us to be braver and come online with some of these exploration, because you cannot understand life through the cognitive and abstract ideas. You can understand it through the experience. And our work in particularly, it's guiding us to work through living experience and respecting living experience, even if you don't fully understand. So just to say, the entropy as a term of decline, degradation, and disintegration, it's not a cognitive problem, it's systemic meaning the whole organism, whole body. So it lives in obviously the nervous system, in myofascial fields, in the breathing patterns, in our rhythms, in relationships. And if you look at all of these aspects in your own life, you can see that some of the entropy, disorganization, lack of functioning is present there. And some of these aspects, some relationships have died as well, I'm sure. Our rhythms changed and so forth. But then what we do have, we have syntropy. And syntropy is the movement towards coherence, organization, and vitality. And it is embedded in nature at all times. Every single moment within you, there is a syntropy as well. And syntropy is engagement with life. Syntropy helps us rejuvenate, recover, grow, and so on. In our work, particularly, I connect syntropy with post-traumatic growth. And TRE as a practice actually helps you become more coherent, helps you reorganize your system, helps you repattern different structures within your system and regain the vitality. So the difference is that syntropy is not forced order. So you don't control it, you don't force it, you can't force it. Yeah, it is emergent quality, emergent organization of fields, of experience, of patterns within you and the nature around us. Yeah. Entropy can be affected by force, by trauma, by violence, by syntropy. On the other hand, you can't use violence to form things. And looking at the state of our society, that's really not how things are working. Not on all levels, but on many levels. And I think our work actually is helping this. So I like to bring that language, that awareness, and I come back to that importance of theoretical context. Because if you can word something, if you can understand something, and you have language or deeper understanding of the experience, then your knowledge is great. However, if we manage to embody that knowledge as well, then I think that's really the complete picture, complete experience. So also I would like to mention briefly established versus emergent. And as we have establishment, and I'm not going to go on tangent on that, but established order in our society, in our school systems, in our family systems, they have particular rules in order to maintain the society and structure of society. But that often can feel oppressive for some of us, as being children, as being partners, as being contributors to the society, and it benefits greatly others as well. But it does forget and does not include the emergent quality of life. And the emergent quality, or it does include it, but in a very limited way, in my experience. Emergent quality allows us to flourish, to emerge, like your life is emerging every microsecond out of you. Okay, so, and I would like to see more of a society changing towards more emergent qualities and inclusiveness and new human nature, spirituality friendly ways of being. But that's society. I can't do much about it, but I can do this in my own space and in this community space and with the like-minded people. And to me, that is really a fundamental part. And yes, entropy and post-traumatic growth doesn't happen because we push it. And as a matter of fact, it happens when we reduce interference and support biology and regulation. And regulation is not just nervous system regulation, it's the relationship, it's the life, the family regulation on a number of levels. That includes hormonal and physiological and so on. But that's how we grow. And really understanding that. And we also grow slowly. Systems develop slowly. Systems organize slowly and they reorganize slowly. So no mastery over the weekend workshop, and the mastery comes through and the growth comes through the silence and stillness, as we see in the center here, comes through the movement as well to the right side. And then the growth can come also even if the ground is barren. But let's create greater resources so then the fertility of our ground from which this awareness emerges can be greater. So let me just stop sharing the moment. Any questions so far? Is this fairly coherent or am I losing you terribly here, guys? Okay. Some thumbs up, so, I'll carry on. also within a community, I would like to discuss more about tension patterns, because I do believe that this is, and illness emerges out of tension patterns. And that last sentence, that syntropy and post-traumatic growth, really comes alive once you align with the natural patterns, the obstructions, the illusions, the patterns that are not beneficial to you, these adaptive patterns. Once they have changed, then you allow the natural force to emerge out. And I think that's really the main aspect, because the deep intelligence of our body, our system, of our consciousness, it is present here. But why it doesn't work often very well is because of the stress adaptation, tension patterns. Then they become kind of habitual patterns, then they become behaviors, and then that slowly becomes diseased. And all of that is going on unconscious level. All of that. We have ancestral stuff, we got collective conditioning, we have genetics, epigenetics, and then adaptations that we make in life often are made not out of our choice. This free will that we do have, but many people will doubt that is a conditioned will. It's not free, really, because you as a child adapt to particular circumstances in order to survive that and to grow. And for some of us, it takes a long work to kind of reframe that, and also move out of the victim consciousness that you often find yourself in. And I think that's a great problem and a great trap that I find this in a healing world. You go from therapy to therapy, you need to fix yourself, you bring into awareness and consciousness issues with your parents, issues with your country of origin, or how you grew up, what happened in the past. And some of us spend decades in that space, and you feel better, and then you feel shit again, and then you feel better, and then you don't feel that great, and then it's this kind of a yo-yo process. But I don't want to discriminate against that. I think it is a valid process and really important process, where you need to bring that great awareness from these unconscious drives that govern us. But some of us got stuck for too long. And I believe, definitely for me, that the massive shift happened when I stepped out of victim consciousness consciously. And that only happened like 3 years ago. I mean, occasionally there's such a powerful pattern that, it pulls me back, and very smartly occasionally. Especially when my resources and my kind of nervous system is challenged, and when I feel lost, alone, confused, vulnerable, then some of these forces drag you in. But once you experience non-victim consciousness and awareness, then it's much easier to come back into really this extraordinary space that we have. It's truly this birthright that we are born. I mean, honestly, this consciousness that emerged here, and it's pulsating within us. If you just pay more attention to that, nothing really can touch that. No amount of trauma or bullshit around that has happened. Really, it's untouchable. But it's not always easy to be in that space. So community, deeper connections with others, with yourself, should mirror that. And that's another reason why I really want to do this. And I said, gosh, I'm doing so many things. Will I be able to do this? And not on my own, because I'm describe in a minute the structure of the membership and then the community. But just to give you a context and reasons behind it, it's not, oh, let's have community, sounds good, we're going to be together, and, and then, we'll be together for a month, and then we won't, and then, and, so it's something that I trust it will grow. Our capacity to be together and share and be honest and step out of the victim consciousness and into the true consciousness. And I'm not going to disregard the victim consciousness is not true, because we were all victims at some point in life. That's, I'm not going to deny that. But there was important part. We must not stay there. And our work truly helped transform that. On many levels. And some of you might feel frustrated. Oh shit, I'm still not feeling great. I'm still emotionally dysregulated. My relationships are not great. I don't know. My gut is not 100%. My movement is not this, my that. Like, yeah, sure. But there are so many other things. If you look back 5, 10 years ago, please honor that and then move forward. And then, no one said it's going to be easy, this stuff. I mean, they did. Some of these people said, "Oh, don't worry, just come for my workshop and you're going to be new." I tried many of these workshops. It just simply didn't work. But each step was useful, so. But here, I would like to do something different. And I think part of that is this connection between movement and stillness, between these rhythms, that we need to reinstate these deeper rhythms that are within us. And often we lost these rhythms and this pulsation and rhythms. And that's how we grow as children, with the repetition and rhythm. That's the basis of your growth. And that's how your nervous system has safety there, and it wasn't always available. So us as adults now have a responsibility to identify what's missing here, what do I need here, and then really engage with that, create that what is missing. And then you allow this different rhythm, different movement, different stillness within you to emerge. And then you are creating different relationships within you and with others. And I'm not just saying that, I truly understand my own, truly, still plenty to discover, but to a greater extent, I understand my own patterns and how that has changed and shifted and transformed, truly transformed. So what to share now? What I would like to share? I would like to share actually what this work is going to do. Let me do that again. And just to add another thing here, and this is within the TRE certification process. What I found that TRE certification process, it's a great process. I really loved it. I loved that year of studying, and I never feel that it's enough. And usually on the first module, we have a great intake. There are a lot of people come along, and then as that progresses, people keep falling off the trajectory, and because life happens, and different needs and things change within us, and what I also would say that a lot of people try theory and they're just totally amazed by that, and that included myself. When I tried this work, and then after a few months, then okay, that becomes kind of okay. I get the patterns. Oh, it's similar stuff. Yeah, I might have occasional new insight, but it becomes boring. And then after a while, you might get injured from overdoing theory, or just altogether you stop and you move to something else. And I think that's valid. Like life is like that. But often I have a lot of people coming back and saying, gosh, I really realized depth of this work and difference and so on. And what I realize, us as teachers, we encourage this self-paced, self kind of guided what's the word, self-guided effort and engagement. However, what I notice, people are overwhelmed with so many other stimulus, including myself. So what I decided also, when people start my certification course, they will get free membership here as well. I mean, membership is very cheap, but nonetheless, they'll have it for free. So they can, be updated on different things. They can learn, even ahead of time about some context and principles of this work and a lot more. They can have different classes going on and learning from different teachers and developing their own style. So that's also another reason why I'm starting this, and like to offer this more generously. So, and some people might like that. Because I do appreciate people's effort, and it's not, people put aside money, they put time, energy, and that needs to be respected as well. It's not enough to say, oh, it doesn't matter, the course is not that expensive, you should learn with your self-pace. Yeah, in an ideal world, but I think making a step forward and offering more, I think that I feel to do that. So what we are offering here, we're offering two live webinars every month. So it's going to be bi-weekly. So today it's kind of a semi-webinar, but also introduction. And in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to have another subject I'm going to be discussing and presenting. We're going to have bi-weekly short guided somatic practices. And that's all going to be on Thursday. So today, I think it's Thursday. It is Thursday. And yeah, I choose Thursday. I like Thursdays. The day of Jupiter, was born on Thursday. It's a good day for me, usually Thursdays. So I hope other people align with that. What I would like to explore also, short guided somatic practices or challenges as well. So I will teach you 15 minutes, maximum 20 minutes. We meet and I'll demonstrate some neuro hacks, neurogymnastics, some things that you can apply immediately in your own body. And it's going to be very practical as well. For next Thursday, I already prepared age defining exercises. So I'm going to show you certain exercises that will demonstrate how quickly you're aging or not. So, and I like to do some challenges for us as well. So we for example, I present some of these exercises, and then we say, okay, let's see in a couple of weeks' time, if you do this daily, how you have improved, and then we can catch up on that. And then we'll have different things and so on. So to me, that to be playful, to be fun, but also really smart and engaging way where you can apply in your life immediately and working with your clients as well. We're going to have weekly TRE group classes, because there was a big complaint for many people asking, oh, I like to do a group session. The individual sessions are too expensive, or I can't commit. And I said, yes. And one of my colleagues, she was saying, why don't you do a group? And I can't commit. And, but actually with this, I'm going to be not only committing myself, but I'm going to bring you a number of trainers and practitioners who can teach, who will teach in their own style. And, I was hoping for Mondays. I like Monday evening classes, and we're going to have one on next Monday. I'm going to be teaching that. But some trainers in US, for example, they can't do Mondays, so they're proposing Saturdays, and others in Asia, because we're going to have in different time zones also different people are. So you might be, catching up some classes in the morning, some in the evening, but at least you're going to have one weekly class available to you. For members, that will be $8, and for non-members, $16. So something really kind of symbolic. And I mean, it is on top of your membership fee, but still, I believe that's, yeah, a great value. And another thing I'll be doing, I'll be starting the podcast from 1st of March. And podcast is going to be called Anatomy of Health, where I will be exploring what health really is. So as I explore anatomy of trauma, I explore, also anatomy of health. And trauma is just part of the, I think, small part. It can be a big part of health, but let's say it's small part of health expression. So that's the, okay, stop sharing. So that's the overview of the membership area. You probably have read let me just find, I can't remember the whole prices now. Where did I put that? So the monthly membership is $12. I have to do it with dollars because the community is on this new school platform. And so they regulate the payment, and basically you do monthly dollar payments or annual, instead of, it's 120, so you go 2 months for free. So if any of this kind of resonates with you, feel free to engage, to start, to grow together with this. And yeah. Also, I'm just going to share another thing. A lot of things are happening. That I forgot to mention that some of the challenges and also some of the webinar contents will be related to the Anatomy of Health podcast, and I will be giving additional insights from naturopathy, as I'm a naturopath, from biochemistry, and also from biophysics. And to me, that's a huge field that is emerging, and most people don't know about this. And I'm going to tell you really why, very, very simply, why biophysics is so important and so neglected. Because do you know how many reactions you have in your cell, in one cell? I think I shared that in some of my classes before, but you have over 1 billion reactions in your cell in every second. Every second, 1 billion reactions. So if you think that's biochemistry, think again. That's subatomical particle. That's the quantum physics here. That's what we're talking about here. And that's why biophysics, electromagnetic, electrical, and all of these other energetics and currents that are flowing through our system as we are right now, they need to have their own place. And as an insatiable learner and a researcher, I've come across some extraordinary biophysics teachers that teach biophysics, and I want to bring that in the shade of biochemistry, on the background of biochemistry, and actually how we experience and how our PNE, psychological or psycho-emotional, I would say, neurological, endocrine, and immune responses in our body, they express, and they're heavily affected by biophysics as well as biochemistry. So I want to really engage with that. and share some of these new elements which are present. Also, what I started to write. Okay, years ago I started 2 books, and which I never really finished. And I'm not a writer. I don't all of these kind of things. But in recent times, due to this exploration, I realize there is fair amount of experience and knowledge that I have that I can share with people. People might agree or disagree with that, but that's the stuff. My own stuff is really to show up, as I mentioned at the very beginning here. And also, I was asked by different people for collaboration, and currently I'm with David Berselli. We are collaborating on some texts and some work on some new coming books. That we will be talking exactly about this, about the coherence, about not just trauma, but more about consciousness, about all of these elements that are really present, that this work engages, but we are not being taught in that way. So I'm here to say, or some people might be teaching, I'm not aware of, but I'm teaching it, and I want to, and I'm learning it. As I'm learning, I'm teaching. And I like to open a new chapter in this whole field. And after working with TRE for over 15 years, it's a new enthusiasm, new understanding, new deeper awareness coming through me, and I really want to ride that wave and connect with that deeper and teach that. So hence some of the writing is coming along, podcast is coming along, and yeah, new work that includes TRE in water, which I started doing it again in Denmark with phenomenal results and responses. God, not really in words. It's difficult to explain how powerful this is. Non-gravitational, warm, held fluidity that really re-emerges. These new patterns really. Gosh, you start breathing differently again, and these rhythms I talked about, they just really connect and reconnect. So I'm just to say very excited about these different things, and I'm going to be investing a lot more time and energy into these different explorations. And I'd like to have you, to join together to plug along, and more than plug along, to experience this together and grow together. So I'm going to leave 10 minutes for any questions that you might have, but I have a tendency to overshare, so I'm going to be pausing here.
Nothing too much really, Cheddar. Just to say thank you very much for that presentation. Really exciting to see and hear what's coming, and yeah, I look forward to being part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, great to have you on board.
And look forward to seeing you in a month's time. So.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, I guess same here. I agree with Rob. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to meet you. And question-wise, maybe just if you talk about times, so you mentioned the regular Thursdays. How are the timings will come along?
So it will be 6 p.m. UK or 7 p.m. Central European time, or
Okay.
I think that's 10 a.m. California time, or midday East US time, and Asian, I'm not sure what that time is.
Okay, that works. Yay.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Some nice messages. Thank you, JLo and Ellie. Yeah, okay, so Yeah, Ellie, just you're welcome, and definitely, yeah, we'll be exploring more in the. Just to say, after 30 years of teaching, of being in this field and teaching for now 15 years, I find I'm beginning to understand deeper intricacies of how really truly life and health manifests more, and it's a beautiful journey. So for some of you or some of us who suffered from some illnesses, and you know, it's fine. You know, we have this health. The health is the most dominant part in all human beings. So just orient towards that more. I mean, I don't want to ignore trauma, but sometimes we over-identify with our traumatic past and experiences. And so really finding your own place. And I speak now from this moment. 15 years ago, I was totally in you know, victim trauma awareness and consciousness, and that was important for me. But didn't need to spend maybe 10 years being in that space. So I just might want to shorten for some of you this process and transition and transformation. Hilde, did you have a question?
No, I have both. I want to thank you as well for bringing this to us as a community. I think for myself, it will be a big support. So I am in as well. And my question is, if we are not able to come, do you think of recording or kind of able to pick up, or is it just you come or you don't?
No, yeah, great question. And I apologize, I did not clarify that. So on this school platform, once you register and you start, you'll have everything available because everything will be recorded. So you have this whole library, digital library of classes, because you'll see some of the in-depth work that we're going to go through, you won't be able to understand straight away and implement straight away. And for me, it's really important for you to understand and implement. So often you will have to come back, and it's designed for you when you need something. Oh yeah, this was on, let me check that out again. So you will have all of that. And also some of my other programs from my website and the digital products I will make available for free on so really trying to stimulate people to, you know, or what am I going to do? Just hold some of the knowledge for me and for, you know, few bucks to, you know, just let's exchange. No, you see my grande dame here in on my land, this grandmother, my olive tree, that she's 600 years old, and you know, when we've done olive picking in October, and I lean on her on those you know, majestic branches, and she holds me and she lulls me in this rhythm, and she gave me these deep insights and reconnected me with earth, and showed me how earth is a living pulsating body. But truly I felt that not as a mental concept as we know that, you know, but it was this connection with earth that is a living organism, because you can't have all these ecosystems based on a dead rock, on top of dead rock. Try putting something on the cement and have the extraordinary diversity of ecosystems that are functioning. And so in that way, yeah, there was extraordinary learning. At the same time, she showed me her generosity. She's always giving. And us humans, often we are not as generous. We need to give something, but only if I receive, you know, and I'll give it to you if I get something back. And it is our conditioning in society, you know, but you know, I feel, yeah, of course I want to receive something. I'm not going to just be like, oh, you know, I'm just going to so generous, I'm going to just give everything. I think that's also, you know, toxic and in imbalanced relationship. But being a little bit more generous, it feels good. So anyway, that's a longer story to what I wanted to say and share, that you will have access to everything we go through and more. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your passion and your generosity.
Thank you. And so, yeah, I'm being also selfish here because I need people to stimulate me like you guys. Otherwise, how do I share this? So yeah, you need that mirror, you need the stimulants, and you need the right mirror that can receive you in life. And that's all of us, since we were children, we look for that mirror. And sometimes we were received and other times not. So I think within the community, that's how you grow. That's how you truly connect with that deeper consciousness. Otherwise, it stays this as a mental context, this idea, and then brings that nostalgia and this sense of lack. Oh, if only I had this, if only. No, let's create this. We have it. And so just being smart, how you connect with the like-minded people, with the community that will support you. And why not? Why wouldn't we support each other? So anyway, that's my kind of a philosophy. And we need to be brave. And sometimes we might not like certain things even within the community, but let's have discussion. And I want to be open and also there are a lot of questions that come along in some of the groups on Facebook with TRE, with other, and sometimes people give very useful answers, other times not. So I am also committing to be very specific on answering these questions for because some people will find challenges in their life and work and then within my community, I'll do my best to give answer. If I don't know something, I'm going to say that too. Okay. Thank you, Dee, as well. Yeah, the recording will be out on the YouTube channel tomorrow, and also will be on whoever joins the community will be on the platform. But even if you don't, this is free. So it stays with people, and hoping people will see it at some point and like what they hear. And then we'll go forward. Okay.
So Chilla, was the joining from the was there a link to join from the email, or?
Yeah, that's email link that you got, guys. Just go directly there, and everything is there. In case there is a glitch or a problem, let me know.
Cool, brilliant. Grazie di cuore.
Also, next week, I'm launching Anatomy of Trauma as online course. And some of you who have done TRE Anatomy, it's similar, modified, but it's more for practitioners and students who are TRE and non-TRE practitioners and students. So anyone who is coach, psychologist, psychotherapist, cognitive practitioner, and therapists. So for people who have interest in understanding, how stress, trauma lives in the body, and what to do about that. Some of you have done this course already, and you know a lot more about this. But there are a lot of inquiry on that, and I'm proud to say finally, after years and years of preparations, it's going to be launched next Sunday, which is 15th of February. So whoever's interested, there will be a webinar launch on that, and yeah, we'll see you there. So, but for us community, our group, yeah, we'll, I forgot to add another thing, that you will also have the early discounts for all of my courses. So all the workshops that I'm doing, so early bird price will be for you permanent, and whoever repeats the course will have half price as well, any course that you repeat with me. So that's also, it's extra benefit that I want to make sure I want to reward you for your efforts, and so that's part of the deal as well. And thank you for being here, and I'm glad to be exploring this with you. Have a good life.